Welcome back to our channel. This is the part 2 of The End of the World is Just a Game to Me recap. You can watch the part 1 in this channel. I put the link on the description below. Cheonsu did not cause harm to the unfortunate police officer who had an embarrassing accident. While a conversation buzzed outside the building, Cheonsu emerged with the weakened police chief, whom he had rescued from his captors. With the chief's safety ensured, Cheonsu directed a fellow officer to the basement, where they found the captors already restrained. Our hero exhaled a sigh of relief, observing people attending to the wounded. He checked his information window, which cautioned him against remaining in one location for too long due to potential danger. The scene shifted to Cheonsu resting in a room, where he enjoyed the benefits of being well fed by the police for his heroic efforts. Curiosity lingered in his mind, wondering how long he should stay in this place according to the information window. Viewers offered vague hints, suggesting perhaps 1 or 2 days or waiting for a sign. Frustrated by their ambiguity, Cheonsu inquired about the consequences of staying in one place for too long, only to receive evasive responses. Despite some viewers' occasional helpfulness, Cheonsu realized he couldn't depend on them entirely. He left his resting spot and encountered the police chief, asking if he was departing. The chief replied that he wasn't leaving yet, intending to prepare supplies for Cheonsu as a token of gratitude. However, Cheonsu was taken aback when the chief revealed his intention to expel the individual who had attempted to kill him. Reluctant to harm his fellow officers, Cheonsu volunteered to handle the matter himself. The chief was shocked, and the scene transitioned to Cheonsu driving a car with the 2 traitorous policemen bound. As the car moved at a modest 20 km/h, zombies chased behind, prompting a viewer's excitement and a donation. Unfortunately, the zombies eventually caught up and devoured the 2 traitors. Cheonsu regretfully accelerated the car, but the ropes had already been cut, and the 2 had turned into zombies. Cheonsu couldn't help but smile as he glanced back at the unfortunate turn of events. The chief expressed his gratitude for Cheonsu's actions, and Cheonsu downplayed his heroism. The chief offered the car to Cheonsu and asked him to bid farewell to his colleagues before leaving. After the police departed, Cheonsu remained in the vehicle, pondering the use of a flashlight. Viewers provided advice and encouragement. Deciding to rest, Cheonsu drifted off to sleep but woke up to a chilling cold and a surreal sight, a skull soaring through the air. Viewers chatted excitedly about the ominous presence, seemingly recognizing it. As the skull drew closer, Cheonsu swiftly started the car and left the school, feeling regretful for not bidding farewell. However, the skull reappeared unexpectedly, teleporting itself. Cheonsu, attempting to stay fearless due to his experience with horror games, received teasing comments from viewers who sensed his fear. The viewers advised him to distance himself, but the skull blocked his path, causing him to crash into a pole. He brandished a gun and fired at the flying skull, but the shots missed. He fled into a nearby building, catching his breath as viewers expressed disappointment with this turn of events. The skull screeched and charged at him, prompting Cheonsu to use his flashlight and gun to fend it off. After a struggle, he managed to shoot the skull effectively, earning Zen from the counselor. As he taunted the skull from a window, the counselor jokingly referred to the Zen as condolence money, irritating Cheonsu. He stumbled over a bicycle, blaming the counselor, while viewers likened him to a video game player blaming their teammate. As the skull closed in again, Cheonsu aimed his flashlight and gun, forcing it to retreat with repeated shots. Realizing the skull's territory was limited to the air, he continued to shoot until it perished. Exhausted but victorious, he bid the skull farewell, calling it a noob bastard, and collapsed from fatigue. As Cheonsu rested, he noticed a distant light approaching. Instantly, he prepared his gun and concealed himself. When the light drew nearer, he emerged from hiding, gun trained on the approaching man, who raised his hands in surrender. The stranger inquired if Cheonsu was a police officer, seeking assistance. Cheonsu, wary of the situation, inquired if the man was alone, and he confirmed he was. With a sense of urgency, Cheonsu wrested the flashlight from the man's possession. He also demanded the man's bag, though the man protested that it contained only emergency food. Reluctantly, the man handed over the meager supplies. As he prepared to leave, the man expressed a desire to take some of his clothing. Suspecting the man might have companions due to the dangers of traveling alone, Cheonsu pretended to depart, instructing viewers to observe the man's reaction as he turned away. Viewers questioned his intentions, wondering if he was merely testing the man's honesty. As they were about to part ways, the man suddenly cried out, confessing that he had abandoned his classmates, leading to their deaths. Overwhelmed by guilt, he believed he should have perished alongside them. Viewers sympathized with the man, sensing his sincerity. Cheonsu asked if he was truthful, and the man affirmed his confession. Reluctantly, Cheonsu decided to take the man, whose name was young Minchul, with him. He couldn't abandon a junior in such dire circumstances. Cheonsu soon noticed monsters following Minchul, including a big-headed creature and a frog-like one. They ran, with Minchul guiding their path, cautioning about a nearby construction site. Remarkably, Cheonsu observed that Minchul had an exceptional memory, recalling every detail of their journey. Upon reaching the under-construction road, they navigated the edges to avoid pursuit, narrowly escaping a near capture as the big-headed creature fell. Ahead, the large frog attacked, prompting Cheonsu to signal them to crouch, successfully evading the threat. The frog hits the big head by accident and the two fight. Minchul remembered a bicycle shop nearby, impressing Cheonsu with his quick thinking. They obtained a two-person bicycle, and as they rode, Minchul noticed that Cheonsu wasn't pedaling but pretending to do so. Minchul shared information about a mysterious unit called the 7.5th Division, believing it to be a military group. Cheonsu acknowledged hearing of it but lacked detailed knowledge, raising questions about his father's fate. Finally, they arrived at the location Minchul had mentioned, but a military jeep approached them from behind. Cheonsu swerved to avoid it, narrowly escaping a collision. The jeep contained a soldier, and viewers questioned if he might be a zombie. Cheonsu clarified that he wasn't but decided to remove the soldier from the vehicle. Disappointed by the absence of AK-2 rifle, Cheonsu grew annoyed at the damaged jeep. Tensions escalated as the soldier brandished a knife, demanding Cheonsu's departure. However, Cheonsu counterattacked, disarming the soldier and pressing him about his military background. The soldier claimed that everyone in his unit was dead, explaining his presence. Cheonsu, skeptical of the man's story, inquired further. Minchul also questioned the soldier's authenticity, and Cheonsu challenged him to provide his military service number, testing his credibility. After the soldier recited his military service number, Cheonsu still harbored doubts. He queried the soldier about the 7.5th Division unit, but the soldier claimed ignorance. Minchul warned them of the danger of their current location and their inability to linger for long. Agreeing, Cheonsu started to leave, but the soldier halted them. Initially, Cheonsu believed they no longer needed the soldier's assistance. However, Minchul advocated for taking him along, mentioning the soldier's fractured legs. Cheonsu, somewhat annoyed due to the earlier refusal, questioned the soldier's sincerity. Viewers commented on Cheonsu's personality emerging, and some suggested leaving the soldier behind. Cheonsu entered the facility and checked the gates manually, suspecting that the electricity was not functioning. He contemplated taking the soldier with them, acknowledging his inability to walk alone. Minchul welcomed this decision, and they proceeded into the expansive facility. Observing only 4 parked cars outside, Cheonsu wondered why the gate remained closed if people had left with the vehicles. Cautioning viewers about the possibility of other survivors in the facility, Cheonsu entered the building, finding it eerily quiet and scattered with papers. They proceeded to a clinic to provide the soldier with crutches, and Cheonsu decided to leave them there while he investigated the upper floors. While ascending the stairs, Cheonsu inquired about viewers' opinions on leaving Minchul behind. Viewers noted Minchul's knowledge of the area and expressed concerns about his safety if left alone. As Cheonsu explored, he stumbled upon a room with equipment and a radio, discovering that the electricity remained operational. The radio broadcast a message indicating that Jeju Island was safe, and the 7.5th Division recommended leaving their current location and taking a train to Daejeon. Cheonsu eagerly opened the information window and learned it was dangerous to remain in one place. He swiftly returned to the clinic to find Minchul missing, hearing loud noises from the basement. Annoyed that the soldier had let Minchul go alone, Cheonsu called out for him not to leave Minchul by himself. Cheonsu then began searching for car keys to facilitate their escape. He combed through the office but couldn't locate the keys. While in search of the keys, he heard a noise and found the soldier on the ground, seeking assistance to stand. Cheonsu questioned why the soldier was there, and he explained that he had heard a noise and ventured out. Shortly after, they heard footsteps on the stairs, and a man held Minchul at knife point. Minchul urged Cheonsu to let him go to avoid harm, but Cheonsu hesitated, demanding the man identify himself. The man suspected Minchul and Cheonsu of being thieves and intruders in the facility. He mentioned being overwhelmed by calls and having insufficient drivers, which was why the keys were missing. Cheonsu realized that the man was likely the reason the car keys were unaccounted for. The soldier worried that the man might be unstable and could harm Minchul. Cheonsu expressed his frustration with the soldier for letting Minchul go alone. He attempted to negotiate with the man, claiming that they were not thieves but rather driver applicants. Cheonsu requested an application form, pretending he had left it in the office. He instructed the soldier to fetch it, assuring the boss that his friend would retrieve it. The man agreed, impressed that someone still sought employment as a driver amidst the chaos. As the soldier returned with the application form, he whispered to Cheonsu to get closer to his appearance. When the man released Minchul to inspect the application form, Cheonsu and Minchul seized the opportunity to attack him from behind. Cheonsu took the soldier's crutches and incapacitated the man, ordering Minchul to hold him steady while they searched for the car keys. Once they found the keys, they rushed to the car and prepared to depart. The soldier questioned why he had to drive, and Cheonsu explained that he could still drive with his left foot. Their plan was to reach the train station, leaving the driving to the soldier. However, as they were about to depart, they noticed people running outside the facility, panicked by the appearance of a massive, four-legged, long-necked monster known as a crawler. Minchul and Yongjin were shocked, while Cheonsu expressed his trust in Yongjin's abilities. Yongjin's fearful expression was apparent as they drew the monster's attention, and it was closing in for an attack. They started the car and swiftly maneuvered it, with the boss of the company they had encountered earlier used as a decoy. They lured the monster into the main building and sped away just before it collided with the structure. Yongjin couldn't believe the decision Cheonsu had made, but Minchul reassured him that it was the best course of action to ensure their survival. While on the road, Cheonsu noticed a blue line on the road, and as they crossed it, an informational message appeared, stating that they had left a certain jurisdiction. A mission setting function was introduced for the viewers, allowing them to purchase various effects as mission success rewards. One viewer mentioned it was time for Handachogwa to shine, and Cheonsu checked his window for any new functions, finding none. Suddenly, Handachogwa donated a gem with a message about training Cheonsu, though Cheonsu only pretended to be appreciative. As Cheonsu peeked out of the car window, he noticed the crawler still chasing them, dangerously close. He urged Yongjin to accelerate, but they were already at top speed. Cheonsu realized the monster was faster in a straight run. He inquired if Minchul was familiar with the area, and while uncertain, Minchul recalled a hill ahead. However, he also understood the car would slow down on the uphill road. Nonetheless, they followed Minchul's guidance, with Minchul urging them to hurry to avoid danger. As they neared the hill, they suddenly saw a cliff ahead. Cheonsu instructed Yongjin to continue driving straight since the crawler struggled with sudden stops. Cheonsu feared for their lives, asking viewers for a mission to help them survive. Some viewers bid farewell, while others wanted to donate gems to keep Cheonsu alive. Then, a mission appeared from Handachogwa, requiring Cheonsu to throw himself out of the window with the reward of preventing the vehicle from moving for 15 seconds. Cheonsu was angry, but he did the mission anyway. He asked how he could sleep after doing things like that to him. Cheonsu jumped a little and approached the car door. Minchul asked him what he was doing, and after some ranting he finished the mission. Mission has been completed. Your force has been validated. Cheonsu smiled happily, and Yongjin said to all of them to hang on. He drifts the car, and they hear the sound of the tire as it turns. And suddenly the crawler falls into the cliff and they survive. The car stopped and Yongjin couldn't believe that they survived. They breathed a sigh of relief, and Cheonsu thanked Handachogwa. He replied and says, "You've got to repay me for saving your life." The scene shifted to their arrival at Seoul Station, where Cheonsu expected to find a gathering of people around the radio. To their surprise, the station was empty. They parked the car nearby and noticed zombies lurking around. Cheonsu decided to act as a decoy to draw the zombies' attention while allowing Yongjin and Minchul to reach the station safely. He draws the attention of the zombies and his skill aggro activated with a 3 stacks in it. The cumulative enhancement increased to 1.4, at first it started with 1, that means the system help it start at a higher number. He needs to properly increase that skill one day, he says. He start to engage the zombies. He stabbed the zombie in the neck, he kicked the other one, and then he stabbed it in the face. There was a zombie behind him and he says he didn't forget about him and he stabbed it to the neck. The viewers were amazed that Cheonsu is different if they look back at his first fight with zombies. Cheonsu asked why they are bringing his dark past. His physical strength and reflexes definitely improved. But he needs to properly make use of his cumulative enhancement skill. While walking, he heard someone calling out for help and mentioning the name Jong Chang-guk, which Cheonsu thought might be the mayor's name. He asked viewers whether he should help the man or not, with some viewers opposing the idea but Handachug was supporting it. Cheonsu ultimately decided to save the man, stealthily dispatching the zombie behind him. The man appeared genuinely frightened and relieved by Cheonsu's intervention. The man mentioned that his partner had abandoned him, prompting Cheonsu to inquire if he was referring to the mayor. In response, the man explained that they had initially been en route to the station but had to change their path due to the monster's presence. He also mentioned hearing about a revolt and wanting to investigate it personally. Cheonsu understood the situation and assumed that the mayor might also be headed in their direction, given his numerous bodyguards. He questioned if the man was referring to his co-worker, to which the man replied that not everyone was part of the mayor's entourage, there were some individuals he didn't recognize, likely external personnel. Cheonsu acknowledged the information as helpful. As they reached the front of the station, everything appeared normal. The man wondered if the mayor had already entered the station, expressing relief if that were the case. Then he asked Younghan if they should proceed inside. Realizing he hadn't introduced himself yet, Cheonsu shared his name with the man. As they ascended the stairs, they spotted a woman at the top. Younghan attempted to get her attention, but Cheonsu swiftly covered his mouth, suspecting that a young girl wouldn't be alone in this situation. Viewers discussed their suspicions regarding this mysterious monster, and Cheonsu inquired about the potential danger it posed. Despite his request for an immediate mission, the viewers initially disagreed. However, Handachug generously donated 100 gems to request a mission. This significant donation amounted to 1 million won, given the 10,000 won value of each gem. With his hand removed from Younghan's face, Cheonsu encouraged him to speak softly, recognizing that the creature did not seem human. When the silent girl heard a sound inside the station, it promptly headed toward the source. Younghan was reluctant to continue their plan of entering the station, and in his fear, he began to run. Unfortunately, he tripped and fell, leading to the appearance of another silent girl. Tragically, Younghan was killed by this creature. Viewers explained that the silent girl, being blind, could only detect sound. Upon hearing another sound from inside the station, Cheonsu saw the silent girl slowly approaching him. At this moment, new Master of Fortune requested a mission, and a mission window materialized. The mission required Cheonsu to remain silent until the silent girl passed by. In return, he would gain the ability to make an opponent lose their hearing once, with a 1-minute time limit. Cheonsu diligently followed the mission's instructions, holding his breath as the silent girl passed by, only to exhale with relief when she moved on. He completed the mission just as the silent girl departed. As she approached Younghan's lifeless body, she had savagely taken his life. He searched the corpse, and a curious onlooker questioned his actions, wondering why he hadn't entered the building yet. Spotting a business card in the dead man's pocket, he decided it might come in handy and pocketed it. When he turned away, he was shocked to see Younghan's lifeless body unexpectedly rise to its feet. It was a surprise to Cheonsu that the silent girl possessed the power to transform her victims into zombies. In response, he swiftly struck the reanimated corpse. Continuing toward the station, Cheonsu felt uncertain about what awaited him there. Suddenly, a scream echoed from a nearby room. Yongjin urgently told Minchul to hurry because a zombie was outside the door. Cheonsu hesitated, initially considering not intervening since he would gain nothing from saving them. However, a mission suddenly appeared. New Master of Fortune had requested a reward mission to rescue young Minchul and Jo Youngjin from the bathroom, offering 20 gems as a reward. This incentive convinced Cheonsu to change his mind and embark on a rescue mission. Upon entering a fast food chain, Cheonsu prepared for the operation he termed the Suicide Watch operation. Meanwhile, Minchul and Youngjin were attempting to escape the silent girl by climbing the bathroom's border while the creature scratched the wall. Cheonsu arrived and used a noisy watch to divert the zombie's attention away from them. The aggro skill activated and the zombie rushed at him. He runs as fast as he can. When the zombies reached outside, he threw the watch away and the zombies chased it. When the place was safe, Cheonsu entered and Minchul came down and told Youngjin to come down too. He thought they will die. A viewer asked Cheonsu why didn't he use the reward skill just now. He said no, because it was dangerous. The condition of the skill is to get contact. He thought that if he gets attacked by that monster he could turn into pieces. When Youngjin got down, he called Cheonsu and said his crutches were broken. Cheonsu asked Minchul to help him and don't forget to lower their voice. An info window appeared. You have completed the mission, you have received your reward, you need to pay cash to check the information window. Cheonsu sensed something amiss in Youngjin's behavior. He appeared to gain newfound bravery, as though he were turning into a zombie himself. Cheonsu soon realized that Youngjin's leg injury had been caused by a zombie bite. He felt frustrated, as despite their efforts, it seemed Youngjin would ultimately become a zombie. Consequently, Cheonsu separated Minchul from Youngjin, leaving him behind, as there was nothing they could do for him. As they contemplated their next move, Youngjin pointed at the station's schedule of arrivals and departures, suggesting that it held some significance. He glanced at the announcement board and saw that there was only a minute left until the train arrived. At that moment, he made a silent promise to himself to remember Youngjin, with the intention of repaying him someday after successfully completing the game. With this resolve in mind, they patiently waited for the train on the platform. Cheonsu confided in Minchul, stating that he also had no desire to die. He emphasized the need for caution when the train arrived, as its arrival would likely attract more zombies. As the train approached a little later, Cheonsu called out to Minchul and instructed him to hide inside a nearby trash can. The train passed swiftly, not stopping at the station, and inadvertently caught the attention of the crawler. Surprisingly, another train arrived immediately after the bullet train had passed. Cheonsu realized that the first train had been deliberately used as bait, allowing them to safely board this unexpected Mugunghwa Ho train. This slower-tier train made stops at various towns and villages. Cheonsu advised Minchul to remain put while he surveyed their surroundings, reassuring him that he wouldn't leave him behind. As Cheonsu cautiously walked along the train track, he spotted a familiar face, a woman he had seen in the news. This woman, Jang Se-yeon, had apprehended a pickpocket and had some knowledge of martial arts. She had come to the station while waiting for the mayor. Se-yeon explained that she had been directed to do so by the 7th Division, and by doing this, she hoped to secure entry to a shelter. Cheonsu noticed that she seemed different from her previous interview appearance. Minchul contemplated attacking Se-yeon, assuming that she and Cheonsu were a team of two, believing they could manipulate her. He gestured to Cheonsu with a finger, indicating that there was only one opponent, and then closed his hand to signal his intent to attack. However, Se-yeon noticed Cheonsu and inquired about his identity. Minchul began his attack, but Cheonsu intervened, preventing the assault. He explained that they were on the same team and then handed Younghan's business card to Se-yeon. Se-yeon noticed that Younghan was from the city hall, and Cheonsu revealed the grim truth about the mayor's fate, explaining that they had been attacked by monsters en route, leaving them as the last survivors. Realizing the urgency, Cheonsu emphasized the need to disembark before the monsters caught up with them. However, Se-yeon was reluctant to leave, as she was waiting for the mayor. Cheonsu assured her that he was the only one with information about the mayor's situation and vowed to do everything in his power to help. When Se-yeon finally began boarding the train, Cheonsu suggested bringing Minchul along, despite his status as a student rather than a city hall employee. Touched by pity, Se-yeon agreed to allow Minchul to join them. As the train started moving, three men suddenly appeared on the platform: the mayor and his staff. Cheonsu observed their desperate attempts to stop the train so they could board. When Se-yeon heard the commotion, she stepped off the train and encountered the mayor. Cheonsu inquired whether she could see the entity pursuing them, cautioning that if they didn't increase the train's speed, it would soon catch up to them. Faced with a difficult decision, Cheonsu and Se-yeon left the mayor behind. Just before his tragic demise at the hands of the silent girl, the mayor provided a password, the end. Cheonsu turned to the viewers, seeking their validation for their actions, which they readily provided. Se-yeon engaged in conversation with them, insisting that they explain themselves to avoid being thrown off the train. She grew increasingly upset with Cheonsu, questioning why he had impersonated City Hall personnel. Cheonsu clarified that he had only handed her the card without claiming to be the person on it. Despite her frustration, Se-yeon was swayed when Cheonsu explained how he had obtained the card and that the mayor had ultimately abandoned Young-han, prompting their departure. "But you lied to me," Se-yeon said. "They are free riding." But Se-yeon said this in the interview that free rider has a reason. That young passenger can also have unspeakable circumstances. Se-yeon asks why Cheonsu knows her name when she suddenly realizes that Cheonsu watched the interview and she is suddenly embarrassed. Cheonsu was taken aback by this revelation. Se-yeon, still bashful, explained that she had found his memory of the interview impressive. Convinced that Cheonsu wasn't a bad person, she forgave them and decided to maintain a cooperative relationship. Cheonsu asked if they were headed to Daejeon, based on Se-yeon's reference to it. She explained that she was given a condition by unknown individuals to save the mayor, a condition she had never encountered before, and she hadn't personally met the person in charge. Cheonsu noticed that she had dropped the honorifics in her speech, leading him to inquire about her age. Se-yeon revealed that she was 27 years old, prompting Cheonsu to reply that he was 2 years younger and would use honorifics. He found it suspicious that someone needed the mayor, especially considering the soldiers no longer obeyed him. As they conversed, Minchul spotted a silent girl lurking behind them outside the control room. Se-yeon was about to speak, but Cheonsu quickly silenced her. Viewers speculated that the silent girl had boarded the train while it was stationary. Recognizing the imminent danger, Cheonsu realized that they needed to eliminate the threat immediately. A mission window suddenly appeared, presenting a new objective: new owner's mission: kill the silent girl within 5 minutes. Reward: the ability to steal a person's vision you come in contact with for 10 minutes, single use, can choose when to activate. Cheonsu expressed his concern to the viewers, stating that 5 minutes might be too short, and he feared for his life. New owner responded confidently, saying, "If it's you, isn't it possible?" Meanwhile, another viewer was searching for Handachogwa, who had frequently saved Cheonsu's life. Suddenly, a new mission window appeared, initiated by Handachogwa: kill the silent girl within 1 hour. Reward: skill to increase the volume of your voice by 7 times, single use, can choose when to activate. Handachogwa chatted that new owners can fuck off. Nonas replied, "What do you mean fuck off? You're out of money, so your reward suck ass too." Handachogwa is in Cheonsu's side. He replied, "Is the reward important right now? Your mission puts Go Cheonsu in extreme danger." The two were fighting, and I think it will not end fast. Amidst the ongoing argument, Cheonsu decided to leave the control room and closed the door behind him. The noise of the moving train disrupted the silent girl's hearing, rendering her less effective. Cheonsu opened the skill window and activated a screen that read, "Make the person I come in contact with lose their hearing, single use, 1 minute duration." He touched to the silent girl's shoulder, and she immediately retaliated. Cheonsu dodged her attack, causing the zombie to rush at him. However, the zombie couldn't locate him accurately, leading her to fall off the train, much to Cheonsu's surprise and amusement. Cheonsu double-checked if the zombie really died when suddenly it was hanging in the train. As Cheonsu was surprised, Cheonsu continued to fend off the silent girl, repeatedly shouting at her to go away while kicking her. However, the zombie couldn't hear him due to the skill he had used. As the zombie nearly reached his foot, Cheonsu resorted to stabbing it with his knife while delivering humorous comments. Finally, he managed to make the zombie fall off the train, and he expressed his satisfaction. Viewers watched in awe and commented in the chat window. A mission window appeared, stating, "You have completed the mission." Your reward has been gifted. Cheonsu had successfully killed the silent girl within 5 minutes, clearing both new owners and Handachogwa's missions and receiving both rewards. Upon his return to the control room, Se-yeon praised Cheonsu, admitting that he had exceeded her expectations by heading straight to kill the monster and by his loud screams during the encounter. Cheonsu, feeling a bit embarrassed, sat down. During his absence, Se-yeon received a radio transmission from the 7.5th Division. A flashback scene showed Cheonsu kicking the monster while screaming. Cheonsu and Se-yeon discussed the 7.5th Division's order, explaining that they would need to pass a checkpoint to ensure they were safe and uninfected. Cheonsu inquired if the mayor was mentioned, and Se-yeon replied that initially, they were allowed to go to Daejeon, but after hearing about the two of them and the mayor not being included, the 7.5th Division changed their decision. Cheonsu sighed, realizing that many things were going wrong. An information window provided two important pieces of information. The people at the checkpoint station were known to habitually steal from visitors, and it was advisable to avoid stopping there if possible. Additionally, between the checkpoint station and Daejeon station, there was another mini checkpoint station guarded by a small group of people. Cheonsu contemplated the situation, realizing that the recommendation was not to stop at the checkpoint station. He turned to his viewers, seeking a minor spoiler from them. He asked, "Hi Youngnims, please give me one spoiler. Tell me how many people in Jangseon are capable of taking on a fight at once." The viewers debated the spoiler's significance and decided to provide a hint. They estimated that around 5 people from Jangseons were capable of fighting at once. As Cheonsu momentarily spaced out, Se-yeon asked him with concern, "Hey, why did you suddenly stop responding to me? Is something wrong?" Breaking out of his thoughts, Cheonsu suggested, "Can't we just run past the checkpoint station?" However, Se-yeon expressed her reservations about the safety of that place, raising concerns about the trustworthiness of the people at the checkpoint. She mentioned the suspicious change in their behavior after learning the mayor wasn't with them. Cheonsu elaborated on his doubts, considering the state of the world and the possibility that the checkpoint station might have fallen into the hands of a malevolent group or a dubious military company. Se-yeon concurred, acknowledging that stopping at the checkpoint station would pose a significant risk. Realizing the dangers associated with the checkpoint, decided, "You're right. Let's go straight to Daejeon. I'm not foolish enough to head into a dangerous situation, in which we might have to fight for our lives." He then inquired about potential obstacles between the checkpoint station and Daejeon, specifically mentioning the rail switch under construction. Se-yeon explained that if someone activated the rail switch, their train would divert to the incomplete track, leading to a catastrophic crash. Cheonsu predicted that there would likely be a mini checkpoint, with individuals positioned near the rail switch. Even if they managed to bypass the first checkpoint, he believed they would be forced to stop at the second one. As they approached Dongjin Station, Cheonsu opened a skill window and used an ability that increased the volume of his voice 7-fold, intending to create chaos. When the train passed the station, Cheonsu emerged without his clothes and shouted that the train was broken. The soldiers stationed at the checkpoint were taken aback, as no one had informed them of a broken train. Cheonsu returned to the control room, where Se-yeon questioned his actions and his decision. Cheonsu explained that he wanted to confuse the checkpoint personnel, who likely lacked protocols for dealing with such situations. By relaying the information of a broken train, he anticipated that the people at the second checkpoint would also be flustered. Se-yeon pressed further, inquiring about how Cheonsu's voice had suddenly become so loud. Cheonsu assured her not to worry about it, emphasizing the importance of their ruse. As they continued their journey, Se-yeon noted that they were approaching the second checkpoint, but the zombies were still present, indicating potential issues. She suggested preparing for the upcoming situation and slowing down the train once they exited the tunnel. After stopping the train, Se-yeon and Cheonsu disembarked, and Cheonsu requested Minchul's assistance in honking the train horn 30 minutes later to distract the checkpoint personnel. Minchul agreed to the plan, promising to sound the horn and restart the train promptly. With the second checkpoint ahead, Se-yeon expressed her concerns about Minchul's ability to control the train effectively. Cheonsu reassured her, stating that Minchul's memory was exceptional. As they emerged from the jungle, they spotted a station below where 4 soldiers were engaged in a conversation. The soldiers discussed their intentions, contemplating whether to use or capture Cheonsu's group. However, Cheonsu and Se-yeon swiftly took action. Cheonsu seized one soldier's gun and pointed a knife at his neck, while Se-yeon disarmed the other soldier, choking him and then kicking him off a cliff. The remaining two soldiers were left terrified as Se-yeon confronted them. The chapter ended with a tense standoff, leaving the fate of these soldiers hanging in the balance. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe and stay tuned. Goodbye, and peace.